let me just take a moment to turn off the light back here and try to make this environment more conducive to the discussion I want to have here. There we go. And I see that there are two people here in the little chat group. Now, let me tell you why I'm doing this, quote, holiday special. My intention really is, well, I'll just leave it open-ended. I'll just say it's not clear. But I started my YouTube channel around August of, I think, 2010. And so it's been a little over 12 years. And I started thinking about how every holiday there's something else to talk about. Every holiday there's some new bullshit that's happened during the year. Let me see. Let me just get my thoughts together here. Because I just jumped in on this and I honestly wanted to make a live video instead of just making a video because the honest truth is I like to interact with my people. And I consider you all my people, my viewers, you know. And that's something that I don't take for granted. I realize that you're like my audience, I guess you would say. If you're a musician and you go out and you play, you have an audience. Now, you don't always get paid from that audience or by having people, but you play for people because you like to. The same way I like to sit here and talk to you all. And with the holidays here, you know, I haven't made very many videos lately. I've got really fucked up, actually. I fell and I hurt myself the other day at work because as many of you know, I build tiny homes. And I was sitting out there, I was working with my boss and we decided to do some framing towards the end of the day. And then I slipped, fell, and I slammed my hip and I slammed the back of my neck. And I also like jabbed this piece of plywood. It was like the most ironic thing because it was like I was literally screwing down pieces of plywood across the floor joists in this tiny house so I didn't slip and hurt myself. And then my boss needed help, so I jumped up before I was done and helped him. And then I slipped on the exact piece of wood that I was trying to trying to screw down, and I fell and I totally screwed up myself, and I like broke a vein on the back of my leg, and it like swelled up like a golf ball, and it was just it sucked. So I laid there yesterday and just kind of said, "Fuck it, I ain't working." And then today, because I worked Monday through Thursday. So I texted my boss. I'm like, I'm assuming we're not working today because it was supposed to start freezing rain. It's been about 20 degrees here in the Portland area. And it was supposed to, sometime between, you know, in the afternoon through the evening, start raining, freezing rain or sleet. And it hit about 2 hours ago. I took my dog for a walk like right when it started because it was already getting slippery. And I was like, it's going to be at least a full day or two of just being stuck inside with nothing but a sheet of fucking ice outside. And I mean, it's like the whole road is just ice. And I won't get any sympathy from anyone else in the U.S. because the entire fucking country right now is covered in ice or snow. But at least the people who live in the snowy zones aren't dealing with the ice. Ice is the worst. It's freezing rain. The difference between sleet is when it freezes, then hits the ground as like ice. Freezing rain is when it falls as rain and then hits a colder area below and freezes. It doesn't matter. Either way, it turns into an ice sheet. But I have something a lot of people don't have in my neighborhood. I have ice skates, size 14, that fit my big ass feet. And so when the ice sheet comes, I'll be able to get around. I'm okay with that. Maybe even let my dog pull me on them and break my fucking neck again like I did at work the other day. But anyhow, I'm not the guy who goes driving when this kind of shit hits. So I was like, I'm just sticking around at home. So I took a walk and I came back and I looked outside. My whole driveway was frozen. I thought maybe this is a nice time to cozy up and make a video for YouTube. And I thought maybe I would just do a live video instead. And then I started asking myself, why do I want to do a live video instead of a regular video? I've been doing this for years. Why does it matter whether it's live or not? Okay, so here's where I get into the kind of personal soul-searching shit, right? I started asking myself, what is it that you want out of YouTube, right? Are you just trying to just get subscribers. Of course not. If I did, I would just talk about nothing but politics or something that got a lot of attention. But it's quality subscribers, right? But people. And I don't want to let anybody down by branching my channel off into talking about some random topic nobody gives a fuck about, or trying to hone it or school. Like, when it comes to running my channel like a business, it just doesn't happen. I run my channel like a dude who just talks on the internet and speaks online and puts up my camera, and I like it that way. I've always liked it that way. So I'm gonna take just a quick moment. I needed to take a schwill, and I can't do that on camera because YouTube has a certain algorithm, and not just a certain algorithm, but it also has AI that is searching for anybody who may be sipping off of any type of a bottle or sucking on any type of a pipe. Which, I'll be honest, I kind of respect. I respect the fact that we've got to a point on the internet now where there are some areas that are considered somewhat safe. Okay, I have a 9-year-old, or sorry, a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 27-year-old. And they all grew up in different eras. But my 10 and 13-year-old are basically in the same, region. They grow up with all the bullshit, all the people spamming the internet with their BS porn sites and crap like that. Now to the point where it's got so bad you can't even say the word porn, or else you get censored on YouTube. So people blur out the letters, whatever it may be. I feel like we're kind of at a point of censorship where we self-censor. And so I'm partially okay with that because I want YouTube to be a safe and useful platform for all people. But I think censorship goes above and beyond, especially in the US. But I need to go get my glasses because I wanted to read the comments. And I know that I have bad eyesight now. And I'm being honest, when I first started my channel, I could flip through the comments. And now I'm old and blind. And so I'll be right back with my glasses. Old man. Y'all don't mind waiting just a second, right? I hope I can find it. Oh, good for me, good for me. I bet everybody already left. I had to go outside, and I had to walk across the ice sheets, and I had to go find my glasses, and looks like everybody's still here. Good, good. Hi, and welcome back. So, as I for anyone who's not aware of how I do podcasts, I'm weird and I talk for a while and then I ramble through the comments and acknowledge the people that are here, my fam, my peeps, because you all make this worth doing. Hello, Nemesis Breaks. Good to see you. Matthew Bro says, what is this space you are broadcasting from? Is it a storage space? What has brought you to this area? Is it a thinking place? That is a wonderful question, Matthew. This little area that I'm in right now, I pointed this out last time, but behind me, this was an old false wall, and there used to be a fake wall here with a shelf above it and built in, and I would open it, and there was a grow room back in the days of hiding cannabis. And I had a beautiful sea of green cannabis garden back there, but right now it's just everything around this whole area is a storage space, and it has shelving with my records. And then over here we've got like all my other storage. It's actually pretty cleaned out right now. I've got my I'm in the process of remodeling. I got my 15-minute free thinking tie-dyes that I made that I was going to put up for sale, and I just haven't done yet. But this space, the question you asked is great because it actually is my thinking space. And it is the corner of my garage. I have a 2-car garage. And this is like the far back side, on the far back corner. Then next to this is like the living room area where when I make a video, if I'm kind of sitting sideways on like this couch, that's like the converted living area. And then on the other side of that wall is like an 8-foot by the width of the garage kind of storage space where I keep my tools and do my guitar work, mostly like soldering and stuff like that. So it's like a 3-room part of the garage, and this room has a buffer between it and the house. I've got my teenage son is in there watching Harry Potter for the first time on the very last one. And my youngest son is probably playing Fortnite or watching some random YouTuber, and my wife is doing cleaning and getting ready for Christmas, and it's just, this is the only room that's separate from all that noise. So if I want to do a podcast, a video, whatever, I come in here, and it's kind of my selfish hideaway zone. So, Seeker of Truths, hello. I've got Dirty the Grower. It's good to see you, my friend. Counted 12 vehicles off the road on one highway. yeah, that's... Somebody said, Dirty says, live is more real, people's, and like a message board. Yeah, it's truth. And the funny thing is, I love it when the conversations in the discussion get more interesting than any responses to what I say. Hello, Adam. Hello, Jesse. And Matthew says, thoughts on the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I've listened to them a little bit, and I think they're all right. No real thoughts on it, though. Let me turn this down. It's bright. All right. The question here was, Tippy says, I miss the Wild West of the internet, but I understand where you're coming from. And I'm going to guess that was in response to my discussion about YouTube being a little more censored and catered now. I completely agree with you. And if there's any issue that I have a strong cognitive dissonance on, the most ambivalence I have about any topic would be that. I really don't know how I feel about the internet changing. As it improves for some people, it also causes censorship. Let me put it this way. As a YouTuber, there's certain topics I can't discuss. When I brought up COVID, talked about shots, how I felt about things, I mean, I've never got the treatment. And you find during the last few years, people had to kind of be careful what they talked about. And I have nothing against other people who make their own decisions, but I was just like, it's amazing how much certain viewpoints are oppressed on YouTube and elsewhere. And we know that social media has been completely coerced by the government. I mean, it's kind of hard to get away from the Twitter files bullshit and the Penguins or Charlie, call it Moist Critical, whoever you want to call him. He's a YouTuber. He's funny. I can't look away from his drama. That he talks about other drama. And today it was hilarious because he was talking about how he can't look away from the drama of what's going on YouTube or on Twitter. and how he's ashamed of it basically, but he can't look away because it's just such a train wreck. And I'm the same way. I can't help it. I get up in the morning and I'm go about my day, grab my coffee and do my stuff. I'm like, I wonder how much Elon is like desperately groveled on Twitter for attention today. And I go look because I can't help it. It's like, look, there's a certain degree of attention and understanding and respect that we all hope to attain in this world. But you find very quickly when you interact with people that it's not earned through putting other people down because they put you down, or being like, well, no, you're a shithead, and that's how people act these days. And you'll find that a lot of people who haven't been in the limelight too much, once they get there, they start acting like total children. And Elon Musk was a perfect example of how somebody can totally ruin their self-image even with their most diehard fans. But that leads me to questions of why does a guy like that have fans? And, what is a fan, right? Oh, no. My phone's making sounds. I don't know why it's doing that. It shouldn't be. Hold on a second. Let me see what it says. Alright, I'm reconnecting here. I guess I got disconnected. I need to turn down my ringtone and notification volume. There we go. Much better. It's so professional, isn't it? Isn't that awesome? So let's see where we're at. So yes, excellent. All right, all caught up on comments, and that's what I like. That brings me back to the point I was making earlier about how I really want to, one of the things I love about my channel is being able to respond to people individually and have a discussion about stuff. To be able to sit here on Christmas Eve, or is it Eve? No, it's Eve, and talk about just random things. And thanks, to all of you for having discussions with me. I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it really means a lot. I've learned a lot talking to people online. Just as much, if not probably a lot more, to be honest, than I ever learned talking with people in person. And I know that maybe 5-10 years ago I would not have agreed with that. But the truth is I interact with dozens of people online every day as opposed to maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people each day that I know in person. And you learn a lot more about how people act and how they react. And what matters to me is understanding where people are coming from and what really moves people. And I feel like people are a little more honest online than they are in person, Just like in text, people are more likely to kind of say what they mean, even if they say stupid ass shit. We've all learned in the day and age of text messages and emails that things get misinterpreted so much. I mean, how many of you have had to step back from texting or leaving, sending longer texts or messages knowing that, fuck, people always take these out of context or don't understand where I'm coming from. But, that's the beauty of the holidays. Just stop giving a shit about all that. Just enjoy yourself for a couple days. I know some people don't have family or friends or anybody they can interact with, and that makes it hard. But I think it's important that we at least find somebody, that we can just kick back and relax with, maybe talk about life, talk about death, talk about existence. Because ultimately, I think a lot of you would agree that we're getting really way too wrapped up in bullshit right now. Whether it be political, philosophical, religious. People seem to be kind of losing it, going off the deep end. I see this in all different groups, individuals, myself included. And I've been obsessed with figuring out, not obsessed I guess, but very interested to figure out why people feel this way. Why people feel so lost right now. And I think it comes down to not having a belief that there's a cohesive and organized future for all of us, where everyone feels part of it, where we actually maybe even survive. Because a lot of people have become doomers, and climate fear has become a major issue. I didn't even know climate fear was a thing, or climate anxiety as they call it. I mean, sure, I've thought about the future and thought, hey, yeah, man, the world's going to go to shit perhaps one day, but hey, I'm living for now. I don't worry about it and stress about it. But the kids of today, a lot of them apparently have climate anxiety because it's been fed to them that they're not going to have a future, which is nonsense. We will always manage and find a way. Human ingenuity always finds a way. And when it doesn't, well, then it's too late. I don't know how to feel about things these days. You know what the weird thing is? Standing off camera like this, I'm kind of staring at my records, basically looking at what you're looking at. And actually, it's a little easier to speak sometimes. Which is ironic because every time I make a podcast, I always feel like it's not the right format. Like, I'm used to talking on video and looking at a camera, and when I'm not, it just feels strange talking to a microphone. But when I'm standing here behind the camera and looking at what you're looking at, it's almost like I'm talking to my records or the gnome on the shelf. It's not an elf on a shelf, but it's this gnome. I got him at like a garage sale or something. I don't even know. But I painted him a couple of years ago. And it was the funniest thing because when I painted him, I originally painted his legs above his boots flesh colored. So he had basically no pants on. My wife informed me that no, he's wearing tights. So I repainted them orange. And the story of the gnome. And I just found this up there too. My brother got this for me years ago. It's a grow your own ninja. So if you're out there, Nick's my brother. He has a YouTube channel too, and he doesn't upload, like, he does music stuff, but we were talking about, let's just say we have a long history of humorous stuff as kids. Going back, and it's funny because being Christmas time, I think back to when we were like, he was like 9 and I was 12, and we got cassette tapes in our stockings, right? And this one of the ones I got was Tears for Fears. This was in like 88, I think. Or 80, no, this was like 86, I think, probably. 85 or 86. I fucking hated it. Hated Tears for Fears. But the next year, I think I got an album by Dire Straits. It was their most recent release, Brothers in Arms. And now in retrospect, I know my dad was trying to get me into good music because I love Dire Straits. And actually that album, Brothers in Arms, my brother and I both grew up listening to. The interesting thing is that it was decades later when I realized the song Brothers in Arms was actually about war, and my dad was in Vietnam, and there was probably a reason why he listened to it and liked it. But I saw a couple of comments pop up. So animals are individuals. Animals are not ours to experiment or use or abuse in any other way. Okay, so spinning wheels. It's kind of an ironic screen name for somebody who's literally spinning their wheels telling me about eating meat. I don't know where the vegetarian comment came from, but let me just ask you this, spinning wheels. Are plants here for our exploitation? I mean, that's a really, really ridiculous comment. I'm not going to say it's dumb, but I flip down here. Hello, John Lara. Good to see you. Then Spinning Wheels leaves like 4 comments, and then he says, stop eating Five Guys. Well, I'm actually not gay, so I don't eat guys. But if you're talking about the burger place that's down the street, they opened up last year sometime. I've been there a total of 4 times in a year. So to say stop eating Five Guys to me, it just kind of sounds like, I don't know. I don't even know where you're coming from or understand your position. But I'm curious to know if you're the same one who's always posting obsessive things about veganism. But let me just leave you with the fact. When you consider the actual protein count and benefit of eating, say, beef over eating vegetables, you actually you actually do less damage to the environment eating beef than you do eating the same protein amount in vegetables when you consider for the vast amount of landscape that's required. And this old joke about how eating meat destroys the environment because it sucks up all the water is nonsense. We live in a closed system. It is what it is. But I won't get into veganism. But if you want to go into that, we could have that discussion. But all right. Adam says the generation coming up might have more problems than this one. Yeah, well, that I mean, that's actually, the biggest issue right now. People don't have any hope. They're going to have more issues, and they know they are. But I don't think they're going to be the ones that we necessarily expect them to be, if that you will. Matthew says, what record would you throw on right now if you could? Well, I can throw on any record because I have all my favorite ones. So I don't really know. I don't feel like listening to music right now, so that's hard to say. I'm kind of feeling a little rowdy at times this evening. So I'd probably put on Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power. Or Pink Floyd Animals, one or the other. Yeah. Jesse. Hello, Jesse. He says, my mind always skips to the thought of death constantly, following nearly every thought I have about anything. Jesse, this is a great comment. These are the kind of comments I love to discuss, and I'm glad you brought it up randomly out of the blue, because death is something that is one of my favorite philosophical discussions. I don't talk about it very often because most people shy away from it. In fact, most people, when they see, for example, a video or a book or something about death and understanding death, they will just bypass it because consciously or subconsciously, they have no interest in thinking about their mortality. But I want to say this, for what it's worth, don't shy away from it. Embrace that. There's going to be part of your mind that's always going to be able to acknowledge death. And instead of thinking of it as a bad thing, let me think of this. There's something called intrusive thoughts, okay? You've probably heard of it. It's where people feel like okay, you have a thought about hurting somebody, and then people think, why do I think this? Well, I want to make it very clear. It's natural. Everybody's going to have thoughts about harming, about abusing, about weird things. They just enter your mind and they leave. And we're taught that those are bad thoughts. There's no such thing as a bad thought. You process and you say, that would be horrible, and you move on. At least that's how I deal with it. But there are some people who really feel like they're bad people because they have bad thoughts. And instead of acknowledging it and just laughing at it, they become consumed by it. Well, it's the same thing about thinking about death. It's being completely aware. It would be like a mortophobia, I guess, like a fear of death and a fear of. It's probably the worst thing we can have is a fear of death. So if we can learn to acknowledge it and turn it into something positive, then we can see it as a benefit whenever death comes up. Connect that to something else. This is important. I used to have this weird obsession with breathing. I'd get like freaked out because I was like noticing I was breathing. And I know a lot of people have had that. And so I'm sorry if I brought that up and it brought it back to you. But here's what I did. I connected it. Then the reason it became a problem is because then I would think about my dad who died when I was 15. And then it would bring me to sadness. And so then I started connecting it to more positive things and meditation and Buddhism and philosophy. And pretty soon it became this stacked idea that as soon as I heard, felt one thing, it was like, do, 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 do. It went down the line. And all of a sudden I was just forgot about it because I had so many things connected to that. I made it positive. And so death should become a positive thing to think about. I think that's something a lot of people they really don't get it. That death is just life. It is all there is. There is no option. There's no other. There's no exception or ding ding. I get to live my life and live for eternity. And no, it's just dumb. It's just dumb to think we could live forever. Everything has to be renewed, and that makes life this much more valuable, in my experience, in my opinion. Every life, whether it be animal, whether it be plant, whether it be an anthill, it's just, but we all have to eat each other. That's the thing. We're an Ouroboros. We're constantly a snake eating its tail. There's no beginning or end. It's just a recycling of stuff with a consciousness behind it. It's crazy shit. It really is. So, yeah. Hello, Yup, no. He says, surviving the polar vortex of 2022. I love Pantera and Pink Floyd. They say psychedelics kill the fear of death. I don't have a fear of being dead. I fear the pain that comes along with it. I've heard that actually more than I've heard the fear of death. But let me just ask you, is that just an excuse to fear death? I'm not saying that's the case. But it's something I've analyzed. A lot of people say, I don't fear death, I fear suffering, or I fear pain. The truth is, pain is temporary, and we know that once you have extreme pain that's like beyond what you can comprehend, the body goes into shock. And you hear of people who are dying of extreme pain, they fall and get impaled through a pole or something, and they're just laying there calmly saying, don't worry, They're rarely freaking out. It's and even if you do, it's temporary. It's not worth worrying about that little moment of suffering. So it's not even something that I would even consider fearing or worrying about. I say bring it on. I guess it's a challenge to nature. I don't know how it's going to come. An icicle could fall through my head tomorrow. I have no idea how my life's going to end, and I don't care, and I don't worry about it. It's honestly the last thing that I worry about, but there is that side of me that worries about not suffering. My fear of death has absolutely nothing to do with myself. It has everything to do with my kids, my family, and those I'd leave behind. Because I don't want to leave them with a burden. I watched my dad die of lung cancer. His dad died of lung cancer. My mom's mom died of lung cancer. I don't want to leave any type of cancer. I don't want to die from, and leave my kids with that shit. So my fear of death doesn't come from my death. It comes from how others would feel about it. And, yeah. When it happens, I just hope it's the right time and people can deal with it. I heard something the other day about Alan Watts. When he died at like, I think 1973 or something, but he died at like 6 a.m. And by like 8:01 a.m. they burned his body on a pyre, like on the beach, and spread his ashes. It was like his request, so they already had it planned out. But the point was, he knew he was going to go, and he made sure that shit was taken care of, and he wasn't worried about it. It doesn't matter if your soul carries on or not. And it really doesn't. In my opinion. I mean, I don't want to live for eternity. I really don't. So, as far as surviving the polar vortex, I don't know if you probably weren't here at the beginning. I was talking about that. We've got freezing rain out there, and now there's like a 1/4 inch of ice on the street. I can't go anywhere, but I don't want to. But I have a pair of ice skates, and I'm thinking about going out and going on a little cruise. I might cut this one short because I want to go out and finish the movie with my kid. I just thought I'd do a really quick live, say hi to everybody, and if anybody has any further questions or wants to bring up any topics, let me know while I go grab something real quick. And I'll be back for a few more minutes of discussion for what it's worth with Carpo's arrogant, self-righteous podcast. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jesus, and the Christmas trees. Happy birthday to you. So I want to say happy holidays to you all, and I wish you all well. And I definitely have you, hope you have a wonderful day. Jesse says, take us with you outside. That was the only request I had. You know what? I will. I'll take you with me outside. I'm doing an outside live cast for a subscriber request. Let's do this. Gotta blow out the Jesus candle first. Now I'm in my garage. I'm gonna clean this off. All right. I'm gonna go outside. We're going. All right. I'm getting cold. It's like 20 degrees out here. There's my house. It's got all the lights on it. And here's my road. Oh my God. Yeah, it's like a complete ice sheet. I have no interest in going out any further, and I'm freezing. So I'm going to bid you all farewell. I'll talk to you all soon. I hope you have a good one. Bye now.